5x5, please. It would be really cool if we can get that done. That basically means audio and visual check. I'm running on Wi-Fi without the cable, so hopefully it's not going to be so glitchy, etc., etc. So awesome. Thank you, honey. Rachel's in the house. So behave yourself, people. Thanks to all of the moderators and everyone who's made it on time. What should we say? Apologies for a bit of absenteeism of late. This is one of the reasons why I feel we need to talk about this. Okay. I felt I really needed a break. I mean, a break. Okay. Getting out of the country. No social media whatsoever for 7 whole days. Yeah, 7 whole days. Now, it may seem paradoxical that I would say something like that, but at the end of the day, we are all human. Okay, we have all got limits. We are all hopefully in tune with our gut instinct, our intuition, whatever you want to call it, and we really need to pay attention to that. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, depressed, even with all of the news, the doom and gloom, and all of the rest of it, which is seemingly coming down the pipe at a rate of knots, which is entirely unfathomable. Okay, so we all need a break. Okay, now everyone is different, everyone is uniquely individual, and everyone has their own line of where they feel they need to get to. Okay, the most important thing is to act on it. Okay, so if you are feeling overwhelmed, hopeless, all of that sort of thing, what we really need to ask ourselves is why are we feeling that way? And we need to really think about it ourselves. So find some time for yourselves, be on your own, and just think, why am I feeling this way? And 9 times out of 10, believe it or not, it's social media. So like most things, as we're coming to realize, it's usually the opposite of what we are being fed. So social media can be construed at times as anti-social media. Okay, it's excuse me. Wow, it's hammering down with rain. I don't know about where you guys are, blimey, but you know it's affecting everyone on different levels. Okay, now we all try to do our best within our own parameters, so our own budgets, our own time, all of that sort of thing. So basically, we need to put ourselves in the driver's seat and say to ourselves, right, okay, I've got a rough idea of what's going on around the world, why it's happening, and we need to sometimes rein it back to ourselves. And like I said in previous videos, and this is really important, so you new guys who have just come to the channel, try and break down your thinking process. Okay, so try and break it into 2 areas. It's like stuff that matters and stuff that doesn't matter. So what do I mean by that? The stuff that matters is the stuff that you can control yourselves, right? That's the stuff that matters. Stuff that you can't control really needs to fit into that bracket of it doesn't matter. Okay, so we need to sometimes focus on the stuff that matters, stuff that we can control. Okay, we can't control all of these stabbings, which has been predicted and is now coming to pass. We can't control those, but what we can control is what we need to do if we are in a situation and something happens. Because let me tell you this, when all of these stabbings have cropped up recently, you know, the people who were involved, so we're talking the people who were there, who witnessed it, some of the people who were victims, and indeed some of the people who are doing the damage themselves. Okay, all of the people at that time played their part in the situation. So what we need to learn from all of these incidences is, what can I do to give myself the best chance? Now, it's been spun and it's been put out there, a little thing called situational awareness. So basically, it's a buzzword, just like prepping, and it all comes down to common sense and switching on. Okay, just paying attention. All situational awareness is, when you boil away the piss, is just paying attention. Okay, like I said, when I was on my break, let me just come out of that chat quick because it's crazy. When I was on my break, Okay, as most of you probably know by now, I live literally in the middle of nowhere, out in the mountains, and I've literally distanced myself from most potential threats. Okay, be under no illusion though, I spent 48 years plus in an urban environment. That's a lot of experience. Okay, most of it was done in Portsmouth and in and around the surrounding areas, so mostly cities and large towns. Now, in that time, those experiences have taught me a lot. Okay, so like we see what's going on, is everything really is a lesson, and we need to learn these lessons. Okay, so it's the same old thing. The more experience you have, the easier it is. But if you're new to all of this way of thinking, you can go back many years now, and we didn't really have the potential threats as we face right now. But the fact of the matter is, these threats are real and they are happening. This isn't fear porn, this isn't scaremongering, it's fact. So, like we touched on earlier, those stabbings all over the country and indeed Europe too. The people who were in that situation, every one of them woke up that morning just like another day. No one would have dreamt or even believed they would be in a situation like that, but they did. Okay, so it's always going to be something that you can't really prepare for, you can't really plan for. But what we can do is teach ourselves, because like I said, everything is a lesson, right? So learn by mistakes. If you read testimonies of the people who are involved and eyewitness accounts, etc., of how it went down, and you need to sort of put yourself in that situation mentally and say to yourself, wow, what would I have done if that was me? What would I have done if I was in the shop and I was at the back of the shop and someone, a gang of lads or whatever, hold up the cashier at knife point and you're in the back of the shop? What would you do? So many things will cross your mind. Now, obviously, we're talking about the UK, so we're not talking about the Americans with concealed carry permits, etc. We're talking no guns, okay? And you're in a situation like that. What would you do? Personally, if it was me, if I was in the back of a store and I can hear commotion and I can hear people shout and scream, oh my God, he's got a gun, and someone shouting out, give me your money, what I would do is I would make myself as invisible as possible, move away from the situation. Okay, if you want to be a hero and it's basically don't bring a knife to a gunfight. You've heard that so many times. Okay, so it's all dependent on your own experience, your own skill set. All right, so if you're confident and if you're a very good and very fit martial artist or boxer or something like that, and you're in a vicinity and you haven't got time to move or escape or hide, and you feel you can do something, that's entirely on your own head. Only you know if you are capable of facing and dealing with a situation like that. Most people aren't. Most of us aren't physically fit. Most of us aren't nimble. Most of us can't run very far. Most of us have never ever been in a fight before. All these things really need to be absorbed, digested, and understood completely. Because the last thing anyone wants is to become a statistic or a victim, like we've seen in recent events. Now, this has been foretold and been mentioned for years on this channel. Because, like I said, sometimes people wake up and it's just an ordinary day and something really bad happens. It's true. It's a fact of life. So what can we do? Basic situational awareness, like I've experienced when I was in England for the last week. Unbelievable. Walking around in urban environments. Okay. So me just absolutely switch on and observe big time. Not making it obvious and not making it so much of a drain that it tires and confuses yourself. This all takes practice. Then there's lots of hints and tips and skills that we could all learn and pass on to each other just about this sort of situation. So, for example, you're walking through under a bridge or something like that, and you're going to turn left. Make your way to the right-hand side. So as you go to broaden your view and get closer to that turn, you can see a lot more. Don't go to turn left of that tunnel or bridge or whatever. Keep them to the left, because you're not going to buy yourself time and space to think about what could you possibly do. It's all about buying yourself time and space. That's one of the really, really key issues in situational awareness, because anyone who's an attacker will literally use the element of surprise. And one of the reasons why this has been proven time and time again to be successful is because literally people just aren't aware of their surroundings. Now, I'm going to go into the chat and I want to hear your input in this. How many of you, when you go to an urban situation, downtown, to the shopping mall, the city centre, a football match, or whatever it is, how many of you see people looking down at their phones whilst they're walking along in public? How many of you have seen that? Now, I realise not everyone has witnessed this. Personally, I see it all too often. And this is just a recent experience, and indeed times in the past too. And I just can't believe how people can do this given the current climate, the current situation, i.e. the threat levels have gone crazy. All right. So what I'm going to do just quickly, I'm just going to check what MI5 is saying. And would you believe it? The threat level in the UK is substantial. Okay. Wow. It stayed the same. Yet, how many of you have been seeing crime on the increase? How many of you have been hearing news stories about the soldier who got stabbed, about those kids who got stabbed? These are real. I would assume that with the Olympics going on, with all of the talk about mosques and all of the fighting and sporadic events, etc., one would assume that MI5 would have raised the threat level to severe. But no, they haven't. So what we need to do is we need to say to ourselves, do I need to be told how bad it is out there? No, we don't. We've got our own eyes, we've got our own ears, we've got our own group of friends all over the place telling us what they've seen and experienced. We don't need to be told. We can just ask if we want to. And like I say, we can use our own perception about how we deem threats. Because like I say, we really need to talk about this, because the last thing that we want is our awesome community here of preppers becoming victims. We need to do our best to ensure that that just does not happen. Okay, we've got ourselves and our loved ones to think about. So if you are in a family and maybe they don't share the same views and opinions of as you do, it might be a good idea to have a word with them to say, look, when you go out and about down the town, just make sure that you pay attention. Okay, please don't walk around looking at your phone. And because what happens when you're walking around looking down on your phone, you can't see anything. Okay, and to make matters worse, guess what? Another thing which I've seen is people with headphones, whether they're the full cap ones or them silly little things that squish into your ear, and they're listening to music, watching a video, and they're walking along down the street, completely unaware of their local environment. At best, they can expect to have their phone stolen. At worst, we don't even want to go there, but I think we know where we're going. So why would you walk around not being able to see and not be able to hear in a world like this? This isn't Mary Poppinsville. Things are changing. Tensions are rising. The video that I'd done last week on that morning, tensions are rising across the UK. They absolutely are. You can almost feel it. Okay. And like I said, when I went to England on that trip to urban environments and I was just observing, unbelievable. Unbelievable. The amount of people who are literally sleepwalking and highly potentially future victims. Absolutely. Because a criminal is always going to target someone who they think they can beat. That's why they're called cowards. Okay. No one is going to be, just say for argument's sake, there's not going to be any crooks or thugs or robbers out there who is going to pick on someone twice their size very athletic, and is paying attention. That's the last person that they are going to attack. First person they're going to attack is someone that they have a good idea they can defeat. Okay, someone's a bit out of shape, a bit sluggish, someone who's not paying attention. Okay, someone who's displaying signs of wealth, worthy of robbing. You know, are these people walking around with a great big expensive looking watch, a silver or gold chain, a very expensive phone, expensive clothes? Okay, these are the victims which most, not all, but most attackers are going to target. It's a non-brainer. Okay, and like most people who steal phones, they are fully aware of what phones are what, which phones demand the highest value, because all they're going to do is they're going to take that phone, they're going to go away, they're going to get it unblocked, and they're going to sell it, and they're going to get money. And all the time that's going on, a person has been left without their phone. Now, the problem is this day and age, who remembers when phones were just phones? Okay, you had a phone and you can call and text, you can play a few games, you've got a calendar on there, basic. Nowadays, people's phones are highly advanced computers with a lot of personal information. Now, that information is going to be very, very useful to a criminal, very useful. Identity theft has reached an all-time high, and you go and try and prove your identity should you have something like your phone stolen, and they can get your passwords, fingerprints, all of that stuff from someone's phone. Yet what do we see? We see people walking around looking at their phones with headphones on, just pretending everything's okay. Now, these are probably people who believe that the police are going to be there to help them at any time. But as we have been experiencing, especially lately with Leeds, for example, it's just simply not the case. How many times have you walked around the town centre and you've seen lots of police in pairs walking around? Not very, but there should be. Why? Because crime is on the rise. So there should be a police presence in town centres as a bare minimum. But we're not seeing it, are we? I certainly haven't. And it's quite surprising and shocking, really, when you consider the amount of people who put their full trust in the law. Okay? So you're basically not allowed to carry anything on your purpose which is going to be deemed as an offensive weapon. You're not allowed. And if you get stopped and searched and you have these items on your possession and you can't give the officer an adequate explanation, well, guess what? You're going straight to the police cells, just like that. But what is really happening? What is really happening, there is criminals, millions all over the UK, walking around with guns, knives, anything which can hurt people. These people operate outside the law. And most law-abiding citizens are walking around completely defenseless, out of shape, no martial art, no training, and they're walking around not looking everywhere, and they can't hear a thing. What do you think is going to happen? Well, things are happening. Absolutely, they are happening. Just got to check this. Oh, well, Carl McPhee, thank you very much for your help in supporting the channel as always. Seriously appreciate that. And what can we say? And it was very strange, like we said early on in the live stream. Excuse me. I felt I needed a break from the whole thing. Okay, the whole thing. So when you, because not many people, probably you guys watching now, are in the same position as myself, i.e., you're doing a full-time job, etc., etc. Now, I spend my time researching and finding out what's going on and analysing potential threats to pass on information to help as many people as I can not become a victim. Okay, that's one of the ethos which I hold dear in the prepping community. Okay, if you know something, it's going to help, share it, share it, share it. Speaking of sharing, if you can share this video on WhatsApp or Facebook and many others, I would really appreciate it. And if you can hit the thumbs up, that would really help get this video out there so many people can see this. So, as I said, we are in the mid section of the Olympics. Now, some talk and discussions have been going on between myself and Jason in Texas. Excuse me. Some of you will know him as Jason Preshears of Archaics. And we did say that we are going to see sporadic stabbings across the West during the Olympics. And already we have seen that soldiers stabbed, we have seen children being stabbed, and many others too. So, like I said, these incidences are very, very real. And what we need to do is to make sure that we are aware, okay? These incidences can happen at any time, anywhere. Excuse me. So what that doesn't mean, it doesn't mean every time that you go out, you're acting like someone in the CIA, okay? We don't want people to draw attention that we are looking around with binoculars, making it obvious, okay? You can use situational awareness very, very discreetly, okay? And it's mostly common sense, okay? Put yourself in the mind of a criminal and think how they would think. And what would you do to not draw attention? Like I said, the first thing you can do is to walk around looking at your phone with headphones on, wearing expensive stuff. You're asking for it, pretty much, okay? So what can we do? Clothing. Wear something which doesn't stand out, okay? Because I don't know about you, but if you was to stand in a doorway in a high street on a Saturday afternoon or a Friday evening or whatever it is, and just looked, and you can try this for yourself, just scan around slowly and just look at people. Look how some people really want to stand out and draw attention, okay? It's almost like some people scream for attention and they want everyone to look at them, whether you're female or male or whatever it is, okay? So if you really want the whole world to look at you, be my guest, because yes, you are going to get the attention that you are seeking, but is it going to be towards someone who is politely mannered, respectful? Maybe, maybe not. So take some advice. Wear subdued clothing. Don't walk around with anything bright, anything with designs or anything. Just wear a basic green hoodie, okay? No logos on it, nothing that stands out, and just wear a normal pair of jeans or trousers, okay? All the time people are walking around with great big bright designs of a big rucksack, multicolored and logos all over it. All it does is it attracts attention. So you want to try and just blend in and not stand out, okay? So when you are walking down the high street, personally, what I would do, I was always walk nearest as I can to where the shops are, okay? And I just look around calmly. But another good tip is you can look. You don't even have to turn your head. You can just glance and you can see reflections in windows, okay? And also you can use this technique. You can literally walk past a shop, possibly of interest, like if you're a man, look at a man's clothing shop. As you walk past, you turn round, and to the average Joe, it looks like that you're just looking at the items in the shop. But what you're doing, as you're slowly walking past and you're looking at that shop window, what you're doing is you're looking at the reflections behind you and all the way around you. You can see everything. It really helps. And if you see someone getting close to you, they look a bit suspect of how they're acting, a bit suspicious, well, at least you've got the upper hand. You know that they are there, but they think you don't know. That is an advantage straight away. So bang goes their element of surprise should they wish to do something. And you've got multiple options at that point. Probably highly likely the best thing to do is to go straight into that shop that you're looking in the window and go to the back of the store, pretend you're looking at clothes, and just look to see if that guy has followed you, if he stood outside the shop, etc. There's always things that you can do. The worst thing you can do is to not pay attention. Something happens and it's a complete surprise. Why was it a surprise? Because you was unaware of your surroundings. You've got no idea what was going on. You wasn't paying attention. Now, I would like every parent in the UK to be teaching their kids this. Now, who remembers, I'm going to go into the chat now, who remembers watching The Krypton Factor back in the 80s? Now, many of you may have, maybe not, I don't know. But The Krypton Factor was an excellent show. And on that show, there was a little game which the contestants had to play, and it's called the observational round. I used to love the observational round. What they would do is they would show a video clip, maybe about a minute long, and it could have been about anything. It's irrelevant what it was about. But what you had to do is you had to watch that 1 minute clip, and you had to remember as many things as you possibly could. And at the end of it, you were tested. When that man walked into the bar, who stood next to the lamppost, what color shirt was he wearing? All of these things. And the more that you got right, the higher the score that you got. It's a great idea. Now, as parents, I'll tell you what is a cool thing to do is to do this with your kids. Okay, so when you're out and about with your daughter or your couple of lads or something like that, just make it a game and do it randomly. Okay, so don't tell them. Let them get used to the idea that they could, not always, but it could be tested. So you could literally walk into a game shop with your sons, looking at some video games or whatever it is, and just test them. So when you come out and say to them, how many people did you see at that counter as we left? When you saw them two women in there, what color hair did they have? And they might, oh, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. Okay. The next shop they're going to, it might be in their head, and they might feel they could be tested. So just do the same again. Go into another shop, like a toy shop. You're in there for 5 or 10 minutes. When you walk out and you say to them, how many kids do you see in that shop? How many kids carrying a skateboard did you see? How many men did you see wearing glasses? All of these things are really good for kids to play. Now, obviously, if you've got like 2 kids, you've got that sibling rivalry there. So one is going to want to do better than the other kid. Okay, it's a really cool thing to do. It's not instilling fear. It's teaching kids at a young age to be observant of their surroundings. Basically, that's all situational awareness is. Okay, because what you don't want to have is a couple of kids walking around a town centre all day, looking at their phones, completely unaware of what's going on. God forbid that one of your kids could be a victim, like with witches earlier, which is shocking. You don't need me to tell you how shocking what happened is. But the fact is, it's happening. All right. So there's so many things that we can do to ensure that we're not victims. Just say, for argument's sake, there's a couple. So you and your boyfriend, or you and your girlfriend, or you and your husband or wife, or whatever it is, you decide, do you know what? We've been working really hard for a long time. We should treat ourselves and go out for a meal on Friday night. Yeah, okay then. So they find a restaurant that they like, they book a table and they go there. So the big day comes. You both get dropped off at a taxi, you walk into the restaurant. How many times do people in restaurants or cafes come up to you and say, table for 2, is it? Okay, come over here, and they show you to a table. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we need to own ourselves. Okay. If they take you to a table that you do not like, you have every single right to say, no, is it okay if I sit over there? Or we sit over there? Try it. If you're too embarrassed, you don't want to challenge anyone, you're too scared to ask, or whatever it is, just try it. And you'd be surprised. 9 times out of 10, the guy or the girl showing you around and say, yeah, no problem at all. And you just go there. Okay. What you're looking for, if you're going to a restaurant or something like that, okay, just imagine yourself, if someone come in and started doing some bad stuff. Dream up any scenario that you want. What would be a good idea is to make sure that you're sat somewhere where no one can come from behind. Okay, i.e., you're sat, both of you, side by side, not looking at each other, with the wall or something behind you, so no one can come from behind. Straight away, you don't have to focus or think too much about potential threats from behind. You've eliminated that already. Okay, 9 times out of 10. Now, this isn't in most cases. Now, if any of you guys work in the restaurant or catering industry, what usually happens, but I must stress, it's not always the case, but what usually happens is where there's a kitchen, you go through the kitchen and there'll be an exit somewhere in the kitchen. Okay, so you think about it, you're in a restaurant, you're sat down with your husband or your girlfriend or whatever it is, and something bad happens in the front of the restaurant. This happened in London a few years ago. Who remembers in Westminster on that bridge? It was in broad daylight, in daytime. These knife men come inside and stabbed people, and some of them died. Okay, this happens, right? So we can use that as an idea. So you go into a restaurant, you want to make sure that you're near an exit, and we're not talking about the main front door. Okay, because if something happened, trust me, lots of people would want to go through that door. And if you get caught up and trying to get out that door, and we're not talking about knives, we're talking about guns too. You don't want to be in a position where you're funneled, where you're caught short in a compromising area. Okay. So think about another exit, another way out of there. Sit near the kitchen, sit near the wall. Okay. Somewhere where if you really needed to, you can get out of there without risk going through the obvious through the front door. All of these things are common sense. Now, you could do this all of your life and something could never happen. But what if one day it did? Because all of these people who witnessed all of these things that's happened to them, they woke up that day and they probably thought, nothing's going to happen to me. Subconsciously, it'd be fine. But how many people have become victims? And when there's witness statements at the end of the incident, how many times have you seen or heard people on interviews say, I never thought that would happen to me? That sort of thing never happens in this town. Every single time, every news article from an incident where someone has been injured or died, it's always the same. I never thought it would happen to me. I never thought I'd ever experience this. I never thought that could happen where I live. Nothing's ever happened before. Well, it always has to be a first time. Okay. And there's always going to be victims every single time. So all we are trying to ascertain is do what we feel we need to do to ensure our safety. Now, the reason why this is important is because times are changing. Okay, times are changing. Whether you like it or not, they are happening. All right, like we said earlier, focus on the things that you can control. Don't waste your energy into things you can't control. Okay, like I said earlier, I felt I really needed a break because it was getting all too much. So I thought, you know what? The world is still going to be spinning around whether I'm making videos or not. I need a break. I needed to get away from here and go somewhere different, relax, shut off social media. Okay. Because if you continue to feed yourself with all of this negative, really bad stuff and not give yourself a break, you know, you're going to get mentally tired. Now, where this is going is when we feel we have to go into urban environments. Okay. We do not need to be mentally tired. Okay. When we go to the shops or wherever it is, we need to be mentally alert. Okay. We don't need to be mentally tired, because if something happens and you're mentally tired, probably physically tired too, it's going to make your chances of survival that little bit harder. It's that simple. It is as simple as that. So if you are feeling you're being overwhelmed, okay, just log out of Instagram, shut out of YouTube. Okay, don't look at your phone for however long you feel you need, whether it's a whole day, even a week like I did. Everyone's different. Okay, however you feel you need to run your life via a break is down to you. Completely down to you. That's it. You watching right now. It's your life. You're the only one who knows how much more bullshit that you can take personally. No one else can say, Martin, you've been reading too much X, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. You look like you shagged out, mate. Have a rest. No one is going to tell you. You have to decide yourself. Okay. Now, one of the things which I think stops a lot of people doing this is you're going to have friends contact you. Is everything all right? Blah, blah, blah. And I understand that. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Because it happens to me. Doing this social media thing for years now, I felt if I just stopped making content for a week, the amount of messages and emails I'll get is insane. Okay, it is insane because some people are generally concerned. Some people are just being nosy sods. Okay, and there's loads of nosy parkers out there who can't help but pry and see what's really going on. There's nosy people. In fact, some people are so nosy they can eat corn on the cob through a Venetian blind. They could. They're really nosy. So what we feel we need to do, if you've got, doesn't matter if you've got 50 followers on Instagram or 1,000, or it doesn't really matter. But one good thing that you can do, if you get to that point where you need a break, tell your followers you're taking a break. Okay. What that's going to do is that's going to stop the continuous bombardment of messages. Are you okay? Is everything all right? You haven't posted anything. What's wrong? It's going to eliminate most of that. But even though that you make a post saying, listen, guys, I'm just taking a week off. Take care, everybody. I'll see you next week. Okay. Even then, people are still going to say, what's going on? Is everything all right? These people are commonly referred to as frigging retards. Okay. You've told them in black and white, simple, yet they still, is everything all right? Honestly, it's crazy. You can put them in the same bracket as people walking down a high street, looking at their phone, not giving a toss about their environment. You can absolutely stick them in that category. Okay. So that's a good tip. Tell people you're having a break. All right. No matter what it is, even if you say, I'm having a break for 3 days. Okay. And even when you get to the point of 3 days, you still feel, do you know what? I'm going to take a whole week off. Just update the post. Just say, I'll see you. Give them a date. And don't be afraid to go in periodically and put it back and extend it and change it. Okay. Because what you are doing is you are showing people your boundary. Okay. You're showing people what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. You're basically being courteous and telling people, look, don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm just having a break. You haven't got to give any details. Okay. All you've got to do is just say, I'm going to go offline for a week. I'll see you in a week's time. Take care. That's it. You don't have to tell them your frigging life story. Okay. Do not tell the world stuff which could come back and bite you. Okay. Another way of situational awareness, although this isn't in a physical term, this is an online term. How many people, this will get you, how many people do you know online that will do a post on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is and say, I can't wait to go on holiday, only 3 more sleeps the next day, only 2 more sleeps the next day, only 1 more sleep, we're off to Tenerife for 2 weeks. Whoopee! And they tell all of their followers. But if they've got a public account, they're telling anyone. And some of those anyone can be really serious, nasty people. They can. You've got no idea who anyone is online if you haven't met them. Okay. You can look at a circle, an avatar, I think they call it now, or even on here on YouTube. Okay. It could have a picture of some woman or whatever it is and say, I don't know, Linda, whatever. Okay. How do you know that that's who it is? It could be some seedy bloke. No one knows. So we have to be really aware that we don't allow ourselves to become lapsadaisical. Okay. We don't give away information which is going to detriment us. Do not. I've seen it all the time. And the thing is, the person who said 3 more sleeps, blah, 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 to be Tenerife for 2 weeks, you go through their account and they got a picture of their car outside their front door and they've just cleaned their car and they're proud to show the world their shiny car. And you just zoom in a bit. Oh, look, you can see the door number. Wow. You carry on looking through their post and you do a video walking down the road saying, wow, do you know how hot it is? And you just notice in the corner, Birmingham Avenue or something like that. So now you know this person's address. Now you know that they're going to be in Tenerife for 2 weeks. Wow. Believe it or not, friends, these people exist. They do. And I struggle to understand and to comprehend why these people would do that. I think what it is they've been lulled into a false sense of security and they feel safe. Just because nothing's happened to me before, nothing's going to. Well, guess what? That's exactly what every single victim has ever said across the history of mankind. Every victim, if they're still alive, said the same thing. Nothing's going to happen to me. And guess what? Victim time. Simple as that. Even here. Okay. Now, I understand that some people who watch these live streams, etc., some people have got all sorts of issues, whether they're lonely, mental problems, health problems, whatever it is. I get it. I completely get it. Everyone is in the same sort of boat. But what would be a really good thing to do is not to tell people, especially in the chat and in the comment section, don't give away too much personal information, okay? Because all you are doing is you're presenting a potential criminal stuff which can affect you, okay? I mean, what's from stopping someone subscribing to this YouTube channel, watching every single live stream, not taking part, never leaving a single comment, but they are reading all of the chat? There's some guys out there on their own, some women on their own, and they're divulging so much information. You could literally build a case about all sorts of certain individuals, probably here in the chat right now. Someone's going to know their name, how old they are, what pets they've got, what ailments they have, what sort of area they live. And then 3 live streams later, the same person would say, oh, yeah, you know, I'm going out and, you know, my car, which is, and they tell the make and model of the car. And, you know, you can go through the chat and you think, bloody hell, this woman or this man has told the world all of this stuff. Unbelievable. We really need to be careful, not only what we do physically, but what we do online. This is all situational awareness. Now, here's the thing. Do you think that there's no Muslim extremists, fundamentalists, whatever you want to call them, reading the chat right now? Do you think that's not happening? It probably is happening. So you're telling people the area where you live, the road that you live in, what pub you drink at, all of these things. Now, I know it's okay to chat. It's great. Of course it is. This is a community. Why wouldn't you? All I'm asking is please be careful of what personal information that you share, because this is a public forum, okay? Anyone can read the chat. Anyone. I am not joking. Just because people aren't in the chat doesn't mean to say they're not reading it, okay? So if you have been saying certain things about all of your ailments and where you live and what you do, if you're telling all these people this, you never know. Just be careful. Someone could be writing all this down. And it's not meant to scare you. It's trying to encourage people to think what they say and do online and offline. We just need to be as grey as we possibly can and not make it easier for criminals, because there's criminals out there. I am not joking. Erica, thank you very much for that PayPal donation. Seriously appreciate that. I'm hoping that this video's getting out there because, yes, the shadow ban is very real. I'm not joking. It's insane, actually. Let me just check something. Right, that's cool. So yeah, how do we handle what's coming? Because there are so many false trails. Okay, there are so many rabbit holes. There's so much BS, okay, out there. It's really hard to know what's true and what's false. That's why I'm a firm believer in your intuition. Okay, whatever your instincts tell you about a story or whatever it is, that is what you go with. When I called out that bullshit, that BS assassination attempt on President Donald Trump, not President Donald Trump. Okay, I went with my gut feeling and I made a video on it, and lots of people got triggered big time and they left. 600 unsubscribed, they left, and off they went. It's fine. It's absolutely fine, because you need to follow your Intuition, okay? And even if you're right or even if you're wrong, you have to follow it regardless, because one day it's going to save your ass big time. And you're not going to see that in any survival manual anywhere. It doesn't say anything about intuition. It doesn't. Yet it's one of the most important pieces of kit that you can own, and it doesn't cost a bean. Anyone who's skint on benefits, you can afford intuition. It's free. So whatever you're feeling, go with it. Okay. All of these things are true. So with all the stuff coming down the road, how are we going to handle this? Like I said, personally, I felt I needed a break. I needed a rest. Okay. I just literally took myself out the whole situation, turned the phone off, and that was it. Done. And let me tell you this, after a week of not being exposed to all of the chaos, it's essential. Oh, I'm not joking. I can't emphasize it enough. So if you're watching this right now and you're feeling, down on the dumps of it all, because don't worry, we're human, all right? We're not super soldiers. We're not advanced AI programmed people. We're human beings and we've got feelings. I don't care if you're an ego, macho, twonk. We all have, okay? Everyone has. And we're the only ones who know when we feel we need to step away from something which isn't serving us, okay? So if it's making you sad, if it's making you triggered, if it's making you really upset, look into why you're feeling that way. And if social media is making you feel that way, well, guess what? Switch it off. Switch it off. Like I said, tell all your friends that you're having a break. They'll be all right. No one's going to hold it against you. And if you're addictive and you're concerned, maybe you've not done it before. I reckon just try it. See how you go. Just try it for 24 hours for one day. What you might find, if you're not very busy, you're not working or whatever it is, what you might find is after an hour, you've got the urge to go on it and just see if anyone's messaged you. Trust me, don't do it, because it might be hard work to get to that hour. All right. Don't undo that hard work. Make it another hour. Don't forget, every journey starts with one step. Okay. So if it's difficult, and it's an hour and you just about made it through and you nearly logged in and you nearly checked the comments or whatever it is, okay, be proud that you've lasted an hour. And some of you watching this might be thinking, oh, it's crazy. But like I say, don't knock it till you try it, all right? Like I said, I've done it for a whole week, all right? I logged out of Instagram for a whole month once. It can be done. And let me tell you this, the things that you can do with your time is unbelievable. You will find so much time on your hands, which will enable you to do the things that you wouldn't have normally done. So use that time wisely, rather than spending it every single day going on to Facebook and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Stop doing it. Do you realize some people spend 11 hours a day on social media, 6 hours a day, 5 hours every day? It all adds up. And when you get to the end of that week and you spent 30 hours out of the whole week on scrolling through the crap, you don't get that 30 hours back. It's done. It's gone. And what have you got to show for it? You're feeling bitter, angry, confused, triggered, upset, stressed. Wow. So you traded 30 hours of your life to feel like that. So you have to ask yourself, why would you do that to yourself? Do you enjoy doing that to yourself? Do you hate yourself that much that you feel you need to do that? You don't need to. So what do we do when we come out of it and we refuse the urge? A good thing to do is whatever you're into, focus your time, your spare time on that. Whatever it is, everyone's different, okay? Whether you like going to a lake and doing some fishing, whether you want to go to the snooker club, whether you want to go to the pub and watch football, whatever it is, it's fine. It's what you want to do. It's what you actually enjoy. And when you find yourself spending your time doing something that you enjoy, it makes you happy. Just say, for argument's sake, you flipped it. 1 week you signed out of Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is, but you didn't go in there for a whole week, right? Then you spent all of your spare time that week doing the things that you like. Every day you've been going out fishing, or every evening, okay? And you felt unwound, relaxed. You've actually caught some fish Wow, you got some free food. Bonus. So after that 30 hours you spent doing that, you can say to yourself, how did I feel during those 30 hours on the whole? And if it's like really good, I felt like I needed it. And then guess what? You're respecting yourself. You're doing something that you like, not doing something which someone has told you you should like. Okay? You see where I'm going? It will pay you dividends like you couldn't possibly imagine. It's insane. Yet it's so easy. All it is it's down to dealing with addiction. Whether you like it or not, whether you refuse to hear it or accept it, okay? Social media is a serious addiction. Insane. It will climb up your trouser leg and bite you on the plums without you realizing it. But it's gotcha. It's true. Check your plums. Right. Thank you very much, Claire, for supporting the channel. Appreciate that. That's awesome. But it is an addiction. Okay. Now, like with all addictions, it's going to take time. It's not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be. Don't forget, these social media algorithms and platforms have been specifically designed to rob your time. But even Jason said this the other day on a video that he done. Okay. All of the crap, all of the BS which is happening all around the world, guess what? It's got one purpose. Do you know what that is? Piss you off. That's it. Whatever it takes to get you riled and angry, bitter and upset, they will do. And they have got access to so many tools in their huge workshop to stitch you up, to make you angry, bitter, upset, confused. And that's what they want. Can you imagine if everyone on the planet was addicted to social media, and 99% of the time they're getting triggered, they're getting angry, they're getting negative, they're getting bitter, and they're getting mad and upset? What does that do? It feeds into collective, and everyone starts feeling the same. So like I say, whatever you feel you need to do to make yourself feel better, that's what you need to do, surely. Does it make sense? Let me know in the chat. If you think it makes sense, great. Yeah, even now there's people talking about protest and problems and stuff going on. Like I said, try and think about it in two simple terms, okay? Stuff that you can control and stuff that you can't. The stuff you can't control, i.e. someone said Sunderland is kicking off in Sunderland right now. I don't know. I've not even looked. It's just someone said it. It's kicking off in Sunderland right now. So if you live in Sunderland, it might be an idea to check. All right. And if it's somewhere really local to you, all of a sudden that's going to fall into the category of something that you can control. Okay. If you live miles away from Sunderland, don't worry about it. Okay. It's not something you can control from where you are. So therefore, don't think about it. Don't worry about it. All right. It's fine. These things happen. At the end of the day, we're going through this experience. All we're doing is we're just passing through. And all we are going to do is we are going to observe and we are going to learn. Okay. No one is here to save the world. No one is. You're not going to do it. You're not going to wake everyone up. You're not going to change everything. That's not what you're supposed to do. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to learn, grow and evolve and share. That's it. That's all we're here for. And that's going a bit deep for a Friday, I know, but when you boil away the piss, it's pretty much what it is all about. Okay. So when you find yourself coming out of social media, okay, all of a sudden you bought yourself 30 hours a week in the evenings and weekends, maybe more. What are you going to do with that 30 hours? Are you a prepper? Are you preparing? What about all of the food that you've got squirreled away under the stairs, in the back room, under your bed, wherever it is? Use your time wisely. It might not be such a bad idea to get all of your food out and go through it. Some of it might be rusted. Some of it might have gone off. Some of it might be well out of date. Okay. Those things that you can do, when you trade your time on social media for something practical and something you can control. Okay, if you're the guy, you're the head of the household, it's up to you to make sure that all of the family is always going to have food. Make it your job. Okay, if you want to involve your kids, involve the kids. Let them go for it. It would be good for them to learn, because one day when your kids are going to grow up, you would like to hope that their kids, your grandkids, are going to have the same mentality, which is don't be reliant on anyone else. It's important. The schools, the corrupted education system will not ever tell you this. They want you to rely on other people, just like the government. When you start going against that grain and start relying on yourself, that's where we need our future kids to be. Okay, we need our kids to think for themselves and to be smart and not to rely on anyone else. Okay, so you bought yourself 30 hours of time for the week. Well done. Give yourself a pat on the back. It's not easy, but you've done it. Good. Now what do we do? Get all of your food, put it out on the bed, lie it out on the lounge floor, whatever you got to do, and just go for it. Anything that's got a dent in it, anything that's like well out of date, put it to one side. Okay, put it back on the shelves. Okay, put the newest stuff to the back and the oldest stuff to the front, and use it. Okay, don't just look at it and think, oh, I'm going to be okay. Every now and again, check it. Okay, sometimes you can put labels on the fronts of your tins with the date. Okay, because at a glance it can quickly look and go, bloody hell, that tin of custard or something that's out next month. It's fine. It might have a year past when it says, but at least you're aware of it. Okay, you're aware of your commodities. You've invested time, money, and effort into getting food for you and your loved ones. Okay, now is not the time to be wasting it looking on social media and letting all your food go out of date and go rusted and dented, and when you come to need it, because trust me, over the next 2 years you are going to start to need your food. Food is going to be very scarce 2 years from now. It's going to be very expensive, very hard to get. Okay, now will be the time to start getting some food. I joke you not. Okay, you can already see for what's been going on with all of the weather and the crops with the farmers. It's insane. It's going to rear its ugly head in a year or two. Yeah, there's not much grain. There's not going to be much bread, etc., etc. Do what you can now. Use your time productively. It's very, very good advice. Okay, don't be foregoing all of those exercises, those drills, in place of, wow, look at all of the chaos that's going on. Like I said, it's good to have a loose mindset of what's going on, but what you're mainly doing is focusing on your immediate area. Okay, if you lived in the middle of Bradford, okay, your only concern is what's going on in the middle of Bradford. What's going on in London, well, it doesn't concern you. You can't control it. But what you can control is that street or that tiny area where you live in the middle of Bradford. Learn what's going on. Okay, make sure you've got up-to-date intel of your immediate vicinity. Okay, that's where you need to be spending your time. Okay, because if you know loads about London and you don't know what's going on in your street, something kicks off, you haven't going to have a chance in hell, because you're focusing way too far out. Bring it closer. Think about your immediate vicinities and what you can do. All right, like I said, the situational awareness is a key thing, because if you're new to this, now will be the time to start practicing. Okay, go out to the high street and just look. Just sit down on a bench against the wall and just look. Put your phone away and just watch. The amount of people that are walking around looking at their phones, it will drive you nuts. Honestly. And you can just imagine someone creeping up behind one of these kids and just literally thumping them on the back of the head as hard as they could. The kid drops to the floor, drops his phone. The guy gets his phone. The guy's not moving, reaches inside, grabs his wallet and runs off, or gets in the back of a scooter or a mountain bike. Gone. A victim. Why? Because he was completely unaware of his surroundings. All right, don't be the victim. Right, so if you are one of those guys or girls who walks around staring at their phone, now's the time to pack it in. All right, because we have got an unimaginable amount of fighting age male migrants all over the UK, walking all over the place, getting up to God knows what. And you really think that you're going to be protected by the police. Think again. It's time you fought on your own. I'm not joking. I am not joking. Oh, wow. Aid. Right, dude, I'll read your email later. My bro, website guy. Awesome. Just going through the comments now. Yeah, exactly. Lawrence, yeah, walking around with headphones on. Yeah, you're basically saying, rob me. Mike, weapon collector, how's it going, sir? Just been telling people about being aware of their surroundings when they're out and about downtown. All these Muppets looking at their phones, wearing headphones and all of that sort of stuff. It's not good, Mike. You know what I'm talking about. Jeff buys cars. Bloody hell. There's a blast from the past. Hello, mate. How's it going? Cool. So people are in the house. Unbelievable. Good to see everybody. So, like I said, it's very, very strange, and you're probably not going to want to hear this. It might make you feel uncomfortable, but I don't care. I've lost the fear, and I'll tell it how it is. I'm not going to fluff it all up, buttercup. Telling you straight, okay? I have spent 7 days completely unaware of what's going on around the world. Shoot me. I don't care. Every now and again, we need it, all right? Very soon, I'm going to get back on it, and I'm going to be brought up to speed with what's been going on, okay? Like I said, it's all well and good having the situational awareness. It's all well and good researching of what's going on to make sure that you're safe out there, because if you believe that crime is not going up, you're a fool. You're a fool. You're a great big fool. Right, Mike? It's true. Crime is going up. So should your awareness go up. Because if it doesn't, at some point, you are highly likely going to be a victim, right? Don't be the victim. So we really do need to unwind, okay? Rachel and myself had a lovely time. We done the stuff that we like to do, and everyone's different, okay? So like I said, if you are feeling it and it's not serving you well, it's making you feel bad, etc., whatever it is that's making you feel that way, stop it. Stop it, okay? For me, it was signing out of social media, turning everything off for a week. No news, no radio, no telly. Well, I don't anyway. No social media, turned it all off. But I was respectful enough to tell people that that's what I was going to do. Okay. What you shouldn't do, this is a friendly advice. Okay. What you shouldn't do is just sign off for a week and don't tell no one, because you're going to get people, like I said, they're going to say, is everything all right? Blah, blah, blah. You're going to get the nosy arseholes who just want to nose around because they just can't out themselves. Okay. So do the good thing. Tell people you're going to go away for a week. Don't have to give them a reason. It's no one's business. Just tell them you're going offline. That's it. Then unwind, go for nice walks along the seaside, go to the park, go to the woods, go on your BMX bike in the skate park. Hey, whatever floats your boat, right? Whatever it is you like to do, go for it. Okay. All you need to do is be aware of what is boiling your piss. Okay. Whatever it is, stop it. Okay. But you are the only one who knows when to do it. Okay. No one else is going to say, Bradley, mate, you've been looking into this stuff for so long. You look ill. You look tired, mate. I haven't seen you happy for ages. You shouldn't have to wait for that. Okay. You should know yourself. Who's that saying, know thyself? Well, that's true. You really have to know yourself. And I've said it before. Look in the mirror. Talk to yourself. Don't care what anyone says if they can hear. Screw them. If they want to laugh, let them. Sticks and stones will break my bones. Remember? Talk to yourself. Ask yourself, why are you not happy? Why are you pissed off? Think about it. Work out a plan. Do something about it. No one else is going to come and help you. All right? Don't go expecting someone to do it for you. I haven't got all the answers. I'm just a bloke. I'm just a bloke who talks to a camera. That's it. I'm not an expert. I've got some experience in some things, but I haven't got all the answers. And guess what? No one has. What you shouldn't do is to put all of the things that you don't understand into something else. Oh, someone will save me. Oh, Trump will save me. The White Hats will save me. The Galactic Federation will sort it all out. Really? Come on, guys. You're better than that. You can do it yourself. You don't need no one to help you, no one to tell you. You got this. No one else has. So after having an amazingly chilled 7-day break and driving well over 1,000 miles, I feel I need a rest because I'm shagged out. Simple as that. But at least I wanted to catch up with you guys to see how you were and offer some friendly advice based upon the few snippets that I just found out just before I came on air tonight. And yeah, it's bad stuff going on. And someone just said in Sunderland there's riots and stuff going on right now. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But, you know, since that new government has gone in, we are going to see things change fast, very fast. And not all of it is going to be welcome. So yeah, head on a swivel, take breaks whenever you feel you need to. Okay, when you start feeling, it's doing wedding, just have a break. You owe it to yourself. All right. So I am going to be seeing you guys on Monday. Okay, I am going to do my best to do that newsletter. It hasn't happened for a long time, and I apologize. I'm going to be speaking to our website guy. I've got loads of new videos to do starting from Monday. So for now, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this evening with my awesome partner, and I'm going to have a lovely weekend. All right. So I hope you can too. But until Monday, you guys have got to take care of yourselves and each other. Remember Jerry Springer? It's true what he said. So I'd like to thank everyone who's found the time to come along this evening, take part in the chat. If you're watching the replay, hi, thanks very much. If you're new and you like this sort of thing, hit subscribe and a notification bell. Because if you don't, you're not going to have a chance to get into the live chat, which is where it's at. Look at it. We had a couple of thousand people here tonight. I've had a ball. It's been good. And it's been great to catch up with you guys in the week off. It's been awesome. Thanks to the moderators, of course. All the moderators are fantastic. And everyone who's donated on PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee and Ko-fi. I'm not joking. You guys are awesome. And everyone who's taken part. John, thank you for that donation. John Farley, bless you. You're an awesome dude. I really appreciate your help. The super chats and super stickers, it's all good. And super thanks. So you guys watching the replay, seriously appreciate it. And consider signing up to the newsletter. That's free. And it's underneath the video. Click more and everything you're going to need is there, including discounts. Oh my God. This thing, I've got a video coming up very soon on this. It purifies and filters water 5,000 litres anywhere in the world. 5,000 litres. Yeah, it's a discount code for that. 10% off. Go underneath and you'll find it. Get in there because that offer runs out at the end of this month. And I'm going to be doing a video about how to use these filters. Okay, so stay tuned. That's going to be a cool video coming up next week. All right. So yeah, you guys take care. Thanks for watching and stay funky.